ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा हरे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। You can repeat after me. अथ चतुर्विंशति तत्त्वोत्पत्ति प्रकारं वक्ष्यामः।
अथ चतुर्विंशति
तत्त्वोत्पत्ति प्रकारं वक्ष्यामः।
ब्रह्माश्रय सत्त्वरजस्तमो गुणात्मिका माया अस्ति।
सत्त्वरजस्तमो गुणात्मिका माया अस्ति।
Okay, now you can mute your mic. Okay. You don't have the time to chant from the beginning. That is why the third section which we are dealing now from that we started. Okay. The first section of the Tattvabodha, we know it deals with the sadhana chatushtayam. And the second section deals with the Atma Vichara, or Vyashti Vichara, or Jiva Vichara. So after Jiva Vichara, otherwise known as Vyashti Vichara or Atma Vichara, now we are discussing Srishti Vichara. We are doing Vichara on Srishti Prakarana, otherwise called as Ishvara Vichara or Samashti Vichara. In other words, Tattvabodha Vichara. After Tattvabodha Vichara, now what we are doing is Tattvabodha Vichara. We are analyzing Tattvabodha. So Brahmashraya Sattvarajamo Gunatmika Ya Asti. We saw this in the previous class. Maya is Brahmashraya. Maya has Ashraya in Brahma. Trigunatmika Maya. Maya is of three gunas. Trigunatmika Maya Asti Brahmashraya. Maya is of the nature of these three gunas. What are they? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Triguna. When we discuss Srishti, Maya should come. It has to come. Without Maya, we cannot explain Srishti. We cannot explain the cause of Jagat without Maya. Therefore, Maya discussion is important. You may ask, Ishvara is a Jagat Karana. Bhagavan is the Jagat Karanam. Why should we discuss Maya? Listen, any product you take, any karyam, any creation you take, for example, a pot. A pot has two causes. A pot has two causes for to come to existence. There should be a maker of the pot maker, Kumbhakaraha or Ghatakaraha. Pot maker should be there. Kumbham karoti iti Kumbhakaraha. Kumbhakaraha, pot maker, is required to create a pot. And this pot maker is different from the pot, Kumbha. So Kumbhakara, pot maker, he needs material to create a pot. Therefore, to create a pot, two things are required. One is the pot maker, and the pot maker needs the material, which is the clay, to make the pot. So, Kumbha means pot. Even in Tamil, Kumbha means, it's Kumbha, pot. Kumbha Muni, we say. Kumbha Muni says this Agastya Muni is called Kumbha Muni. Because he was born from a Kumbha, is called Kumbha Muni. And this Kumbha pot, which is the Karyam product, it should have a material cause, as well as the maker should be there for the pot. The material cause in Sanskritam, we call it as Upadana Karanam. The Sanskritam name for the material cause is Upadana Karanam. These are technical words, it's important to know. And this pot, it has two causes, as I said before, maker and the material. The material is Upadana Karanam, and the maker, the creator, is the Nimitta Karanam. So for the pot, Kumbhakaraha is the Nimitta Karanam. And what is Upadana Karanam? Clay is Upadana Karanam. Brit. In Sanskrit we say Brit is the Upadana Karanam. So, like a pot, this Jagat also should have a maker. The Nimitta Karanam should be there. Who is that Nimitta Karanam? Ishvara. Bhagavan is the Nimitta Karanam. Ishvara is the Nimitta Karanam. And how did the Ishvara create the world? The material for creating the Jagat, it cannot be outside Ishvara. The material for creating the Jagat, it cannot be outside Ishvara. If Ishvara created the Jagat with the available material outside of Ishvara, then he cannot be Ishvara. It's simple. Also, the question comes, how does the material come into existence? If material was there outside Ishvara, and Ishvara, he had created a world with the material, then how did the material come into existence? If the material was there before Ishvara, it simply implies that Ishvara created the Jagat like the Kumbhakara created the Kumbha. Therefore, there is a problem in this. If the material existed before Ishvara, who created the material? The material cannot exist itself. It should have been created by someone. Then he becomes a creator. Then the creator of the material becomes a creator. Therefore, the whole approach is not correct. The analogy of pot, it shows that Kumbhakara, pot maker, and the material clay, Brit, these two things are required for the creation of a pot. But here, in the Jagat Srishti, this analogy will not work. This analogy for inferring that for Jagat, the material and the maker should be different will not work. In fact, this is what other religions talk about. According to a certain Christian theology, they say God created the world at 10 a.m. on Friday. They give the time and the day also. God created the world at 10 a.m., 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. something on Friday. On Friday is it. If the Jagat, the world was created on a particular day and at a particular time, it means that the material for creation was located outside the Creator. And the Creator created the world with the materials. If the material was located outside the Creator, then it means space also was there. Space was already existing. So, because the material should have location in space. If space is there, time also is there. If space was there, time also should have been there. Because space and time, they go together. Therefore, to say that God created the world on Friday at 10 a.m. is ridiculous. What did the God create really? If space and time were already there, then what did the God create? Such assumption, such ridiculous assumption, it implies that God has a location. He has a particular location in time and space. I'll give another reason to prove the fallacy of such ridiculous belief. If the Creator God is in time and space, then that God must be located in time and space, and therefore he must have certain dimensions. He must have a certain height, certain weight, and certain complexion. Maybe we don't know whether it's fair or black, and there should be description about the God and also about his body parts, whether he is human or not, we don't know, and that God must have a gender. Therefore, if the God is within time and space, he must have limitations. If he has a body like us, then that body must have all the changes like what happening in us, that all the Shaktikara, Asti, Jayate, Vardate, Viparinvate, Apakshiyate, Vinashati, all the Shaktikaras should. And if he has a body, then the God has to take a bath. At least once in a year he should take a bath. So all these problems comes if God has a certain location in space and time. If you say God is above in heaven, then it implies the God is not here and now. If he is here and now, then God is not there above. If God is in US, it means he is not in India because God has a location. He is in US now. So how will he travel from US to India? Will he travel by flight or by sea? See, all these imaginations are possible, though it is ridiculous. This ridiculous imagination, it has on such ridiculous belief. Therefore, if God has a particular location, all these problems will come. Therefore, what I'm saying is, if God is within time and space, he must have limitations like us. He must be subject to time, space, and vastu. This is very simple to understand. There is no complexity in it. Any man with the common buddhi, intelligence, he will not buy this idea. But there are many people who buy this idea. That's a sad thing. And they convert people. What to talk of them? Therefore, to be away from such people and remain sane is a big thing. It's a big blessing. We should have done a lot of punya really to be born into this culture, in this tradition. And being born here, how many of them are exposed to Shastra? That's another big thing. It's all great punya. Sometimes we need to pat ourselves and thank God for coming to this tradition, Shastra. It's a punya pala. That is why we have the chance to get exposed to such Guru and Shastram. It's all a great blessing. Our Shastram, it says that Creator is not separate from the created. Ishvara, who is the Creator, it is not separate from the Jagat, the created. Ishvara is Nimitta Karanam. He is the is the efficient cause. Nimitta Karanam, efficient cause or intelligent cause. And Ishvara is the Upadana Karanam. Ishvara is the Nimitta Karanam, is the Upadana Karanam also. Ishvara is the efficient cause, intelligent cause, is the material cause also. Is both the maker and the material. Therefore, Ishvara is called Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam Ishvaraha. And Shastram gives the best example. Probably you would have studied in Mundaka Upanishad. In the beginning itself, Mundaka Upanishad, it talks about it. Yato Nana Svajate Vrinnate Cha Yatha Pradavyam Oshadayas Sambhavanti Yatha Tatah Purushat Keshalo Mani Tatakshara Sambhavati Ega Vishvam. So, Yatha Urna Nabhi, like the spider, Urna Nabhi, which spins a web to catch the prey. The material for the web, the spider, itself secretes the material from its mouth. So spider is the creator of the web, and the material which is required for the web, that also comes from the spider. Therefore, spider is the Nimitta Karanam and spider is the Upadana Karanam. This is the best example. Another example also is given in the Shastra, that is the dream example. We will talk about that maybe later. So, Ishvara is like a spider. Ishvara, the Brahma, is a creator, is a Nimitta Karanam, intelligent cause. And Maya, which is not separate from Brahma, is a material cause. Is it Upadana Karanam? Material is not different from the maker. Maya is not different from. Maya has three Shaktis: Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Jada Shakti. And Maya has its Ashraya, is based in Brahma. Therefore, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, Gunatmika, Maya. Okay. Now the question comes: is Maya? We have seen Maya as its Ashraya in Brahma. That if we have understood that, then there is no problem. Otherwise, if we think Maya as a separate thing, then the question comes: is Maya an independent reality? If Maya is an independent reality, then Brahma and Maya both will become independent realities. Then the problem comes: how can there be two independent realities? Reality cannot be two. It should be advitiyam. It should be non-dual. If there are two realities, one reality will limit the other reality. Therefore, Maya is not an independent reality. Maya has Ashraya based in Brahma, and Maya is Nitya. Therefore, Nitya Bhuta Maya, it accounts for the plurality of the Jagat. And Maya being Nitya and everything being Brahma, this Jagat, which consists of many and varied vastu, objects, things, it is nothing but Brahma only. Therefore, Brahma plus Maya, if you say, suppose, we don't give all this equation, suppose if you say Brahma plus Maya is equal to what? Brahma plus Maya is equal to Brahma only. Understand, this is very important. There are some people who say Brahma plus Maya is equal to Jagat. That is, Brahma under the influence of Maya, it became Jagat. They say it is wrong. It is not like that. It means they have not understood what the Shastram teaches. Brahma is limitless. It is unconditional. And how can Maya condition the Brahma to become the Jagat? Maya being Nitya, you know what Nitya is. Therefore, Brahma plus Maya is equal to Brahma only. Nitya Maya doesn't count. This equation is only for our understanding. We don't show it by such equation. For example, if we say clay plus pot, what is clay plus pot? Clay plus pot is equal to clay only. Pot doesn't add any value to the clay. It may add some empirical value, but that doesn't add any real value to the clay. Therefore, clay plus pot is equal to clay. Clay being what it is, pot cannot condition the clay. And clay doesn't have any weightage. Therefore, a pot is nothing but clay. So, in the same way here also, if this is understood, then we are in the right track. So, we don't have any problems up to the discussion now. And in the last class, we have seen that Brahmashaya Maya, it has Tattvabodha, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Tattvabodha stands for Jnana Shakti, Rajas stands for Kriya Shakti, and Tamas for Jana Shakti. And also we have seen in the last class there are two types of matter. One matter which manifests Chit consciousness, and the other it doesn't manifest. The Sattva aspect of Maya is responsible for the manifestation of Chit. The Tamas aspect of Maya, it is responsible for manifestation of non-manifestation of Chit. And Rajasic aspect of Maya, it is responsible for manifestation of activity, action in the created things. So three gunas are there. These three guna, the difference in the three aspects, it will become more and more clear when we look into the creation in detail. That is going to come later. Okay. Now this Trigunatmika Maya Asti. Okay, let Trigunatmika Maya, let it be there. So what? How does it affect me? What is the connection? What is the connection now? Maya is Brahma. Maya is Brahma. And that Brahma, it is not different from you. That Brahma is you. That is the connection. That is the sambandha. And this connection to be discovered. This is a fact to be discovered. So until we discover, so we can have Shraddha in what the Shastra says. Shastra being a Pramanam. And Shastra says, what is here and now is Ishvara, Bhagavan, Brahma. And that Brahma is not different from you. This truth, the ultimate truth, it cannot understand by any other means. Swamiji used to say, you cannot stumble upon this discovery of this fact without Shastra Pramana. It is not possible. Only means to know this is a Shastra. Since we have deviated from the Vaidika Marga, now we are not convinced of this fact, and therefore we struggle to understand. And we all have become scientific. Our orientation is scientific. In fact, from the school time onwards, we are taught to believe in science. We want proof for everything to believe and to accept, for acceptance. Therefore, the problem is the same people who want scientific proof for everything, they don't question that theology. And these are the people who believe that God created the world sitting above. But please understand that we are not against science. Vedas are not against science. But we have to accept the fact that certain things are not under the range of science. Science has limitations. It applies pratyakshati pramanam. It has limitations. Whereas Vedas are shabda pramanam, shabda bhutam. Vedas also has certain limitations. And Vedas are pramanam by itself. Since Vedas are pramanam by itself, it doesn't need the corroboration of science. Neither the science needs the corroboration of Vedas to prove things. Veda cannot poke its head where science has got something to say. And similarly, science cannot do where Vedas has something to say. They are different pramanam totally. And they are not contradictory, they are different. And some scientists, they say that they will discover the origin of the universe. And they say they will discover it soon. The soon will never come. They can propose many theories, like Big Bang theory, but the cause of the universe, the Jagat Karanam, is beyond the recognition of science. It doesn't come under the ambit of science. And all the scientists, what they are attempting to is the Tattvabodha Vichara, Srishti Vichara, but they apply the principle of science. The more they discover, the more they find the vast expanse of the universe, and they can never find the end of it. They will stuck up at one point, and where the science will stop. Science will stop and cannot move even an inch, because science cannot account for the cause of the Jagat. Any of our thinking or imagination or scientific exploration, it cannot account for the Jagat. You can account for the Jagat only when you recognize Maya Sagita Ishvara. That is only Shastra, Shastrena Veditam. And Maya Sagita Ishvara is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. This is the discovery of our rishis. This is their discovery. And they got this knowledge from Ishvara himself. Therefore, this Maya Sakita Ishvaraha is a Jagat Karanam, Jagataha Abhinna Nimitta Upadharana Karanam. And Maya being Nitya, Maya being the Vibhuti of Brahma, Vibhuti means glory. We also chanted the 10th chapter of Gita, Vibhuti Yoga. All the glories of Bhagavan, Ishvara, were talked about. And Maya being the Vibhuti of Brahma, that Maya, it accounts material cause. Here, Brahmashaya Maya. Here, Maya, it is used in the context of Srishti. Then you have to account for the perception of Jagat. Maya should come into picture. And this word Maya is sometimes used in the negative sense also. That also should be understood properly. Some say that woman is Maya, and some say man is Maya. That is, that which attracts you or puts you in the trap of that bondage is Maya. In such context also the word Maya is used, but here we are not using in that sense. Even the word, the samsara, it is used often in the meaning of family. Family is called samsara. Wife is called samsara. That is not correct. If anybody says, then you have to correct them. Samsara means what? Samsara means ignorance, avidya. Samsara is that which puts you in the continuous, this flow of birth, that being caught in the whirlpool of birth and death is samsara. Samsara, samyak sarati, asmin janma marana chakrantare iti samsara. Caught in this chakra of janma marana, it is called samsara. Similarly, the word Maya also. Maya is Ya Ma Sa Maya. This is another way of describing Maya. Ya Ma Sa Maya. That which is not is Maya. That which is not is Maya. This has to be understood properly. Otherwise, it will lead to the understanding of negating what you perceive. You will dismiss the Jagat without understanding, without knowledge of what it is. It's a problem. Therefore, understand this properly. Ya Ma Sa Maya. That which is not. It means what? That Maya doesn't have a real existence. It doesn't have existence of its own. Maya doesn't have independent existence. True. It is with Ishvara. Maya has its ashraya in Ishvara. Therefore, it is said, Maya cannot stand independently. Brahmashaya Bhuta Maya. In that sense, they say Yama Samaya. This is also a good definition of Maya. Okay. And now this Brahma without undergoing any change appears as the Jagat. How? Because of Maya Shakti. It is a Shakti of Maya which is responsible for the creation of Jagat. And this Maya is not different from Brahma. And we look upon this Maya as Shakti, Devi. In Purana and all, they say Maya, Mahamaya, they say Mahamaya, Mahashakti. It is looked upon. It is looked upon as Devi. The Devi is always united with the Bhagavan, Lord. If Maya is looked upon as Devi, then Ishvara, Brahma, it is looked upon as Lord Shiva. Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is changeless, limitless, Sachidananda Rupaha, Nityaha, Sarvagataha, Sarvavyapi, Shuddhaha, Buddhaha, Sada Vimuktaha is Shiva. And Devi is always with Shiva, like Radha and Krishna. They are inseparable. If you go to Vrindavan, there the people they wish each other by saying Radhe Krishna. So Radha is given the first place and then Krishna. It means Shakti is given the first place and then Ishvara. Even Shankara Bhagavad in his beautiful work on Devi, the Saundara Lagari, the first shloka itself, he says, it's a very beautiful shloka. I like it very much, that shloka. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Pradavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakal Kushalaka Spanditum Api Attastvam Aradhyam Harihara Vincha Jubirapi Pranantum Stotum Va Katamakrita Punyaha Prabhavati. It's the beautiful shloka. The Saundara Lagari starts with this shloka. I tell you, just give you the meaning of this shloka. Yadi Shivaha Shaktya Yuktaha Chet Pradavitum Shaktaha. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Pradavitum. The same shloka, and we just giving the Anvaya. Yadi Shivaha Shaktya Yuktaha Chet Pradavitum Shaktaha. That is, Shiva is, as a capability, is able to create the Jagat along with Shakti. Nache devam devo nakal kushalaha spanditum api. Nache, if not, without Shakti. Spanditum api na kushalaha Shiva. Even he cannot move an inch without Shakti. Harihara Virincha Dibirapi. Harihara Virincha Dibihi. Tritya Bhakti. Harihara Virincha Dibihi. Hari, Vishnu, Hara, Shiva. Virincha. Virinchi is Brahma. So Harihara Virincha Dibihi Api Aradhyam Tvam. You who has been worshipped by Hari, Hara and Virinchi. Ataha, therefore, Katamakrata Punyaha Pranantum Stotum Va Prabhavati. How can a person who has not been blessed with punya obtained the previous janma due to good karma will become eligible to worship you? That is the meaning of this shloka. Therefore, to worship Devi, one should have got purva janma punya. It's a beautiful shloka praising Shakti. And today is Amavasya. And from tomorrow onwards, Navaratri starts. 9 days celebrations of Devi. It's a coincidence to talk about Devi. And there will be the exhibition of dolls in the houses. That's called the Golu. They exhibit the Golu in 9 steps or 5 steps or 3 steps. That steps are called Padikat. So what they do today is they will take out the dolls from the boxes and keep them on the steps. And from tomorrow onwards, it will be available for seeing. And what is this significance of this Golu? it has a wonderful significance. If you see a Gulu, you will find the dolls of various gods and goddesses, demigods. You find devatas, human beings, trees, flowers, animals, birds, reptiles, and nowadays even some games and electronically operated toys and instruments, they are also kept in the Gulu as display. The significance of displaying these varieties of things in the Gulu is to appreciate that the creation is nanatmaka, nanarupatmakam jagat. The creation has many things, varieties of things. The display of many things of the creation in the Gulu, it points out to the fact, though the creations are many and varied, they are not different from Ishvara. It is a glory of Ishvara. The vibhuti of Ishvara is what it is displayed in the Guru. The Brahma, it manifests as manifold forms, and that manifold forms are exhibited in the Guru. And that is the significance of this Navaratri also. Therefore, Tat Ekam Brahma, Aneka Rupatmakasya Jakataha Karanam. And that Brahma is the cause for the manifold forms of the Jagat. And that Ekam Brahma, that Brahma, one Brahma, there are not many Brahma, that Brahma, Maya, Anekaha Iva Prishyate. That one Brahma, by Maya, it is looked upon as many means manifold forms of the objects available in the Jagat. The same idea it is conveyed in Bhagavad Gita also. The 7th chapter, when we learned chanting in the Gita chanting class, the 7th chapter, which I asked some of you to memorize, in the beginning portion itself, Bhagavan Krishna says, in the beginning portion itself, I think that's the 5th shloka, 5th and 6th shloka, I think. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhi evacha ahankara iti yamme dinna prakriti rashtada aparayamitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho edam dharyate jagat. So here in this 2 shloka, Krishna says that my prakriti is of twofold, lower prakriti and higher prakriti. In Sanskritam, it is called apara prakriti and para prakriti. Apara prakriti means lower prakriti, para prakriti means higher prakriti. So, bhumi rapo nalo vayu kammano buddhi revacha. Bhumihi apaha analaha vayuhu kam is akasha, manaha buddhihi ahankara. So these 8 prakritis are lower prakriti, apara prakriti, which is called Maya. Ashtada prakriti. Bhagavan says, Binna prakriti ashtada. This lower prakriti is called Maya. In Gita, the name given is apara prakriti. In Tattvabodha, it is Maya. That prakriti, by which the whole creation is sustained, is a higher prakriti. The 2 types of prakriti, the prakriti which sustains a lower prakriti is the higher prakriti, and that is called para prakriti. Yaya idam jivabhutam jagat dharyate sa para prakriti. Sa para prakriti jivabhutam mahabaho edam dharyate jagat. The same shloka and splitting the sandhi and giving the anvaya. So idam jagat, jivabhutam jagat, yaya dharyate, by which it is sustained, that is para prakriti, that is Brahma. So therefore, this Maya, which is wielded by Brahma, it is Trigunatmika Maya. Brahma Shaya Bhuta Maya Trigunatmika Asti. Now, it is Anadi. This Brahma is Anadi. Anadi means Brahma doesn't have a beginning. We have seen that. The previous classes we have seen. And Maya, which is Ashraya in Brahma, that is also Anadi. It is also beginning. Yes. To say that Maya as a beginning is not correct. Why? Because Maya being non-separable from Brahma, Maya also should be Anadi. When clay is Anadi, what about pot? Pot being nothing but clay. Therefore, pot is nothing but clay with name and form. Therefore, pot also is Anadi only. Therefore, Brahma and Maya should be Anadi. And both being Anadi, beginningless, are there any differences between them? Yes, yes.
I lost your
Yeah.
voice.
Different. I tell you, I'll give some points, some important. Brahma is Chaitanya, the Kaya, the seed of this Jagat, Maya is inert, Chaitana. So this is one difference. And the second difference is Brahma is Nirvikara, because this Chaitanyam doesn't undergo any change. Chaitanyam is a Sakshi of all the changes. It doesn't undergo any change. And Maya being the cause of the creation, it has to modify. It will become everything. And the very big becoming everything is it's a process of change. Therefore, it is Savikaram. Nirvikara. Nir means not. Nirvikara. Nir is Upasarga. It is added to the Shabda Vikara. Nirvikara. It is, Brahman is changeless. And Maya is Savikara. That has changed. And the third point is Maya is dependent on Brahma. It is Brahma Ashraya. It is a Bhavabrigi Samasa. That is that which as Brahma as Ashraya is Maya. Brahma Ashraya Yasyaha Sa. That is Brahma Ashraya Maya. It's a Samasa, compound word, Bhavabrigi Samasa. We will see that in our class, Sanskrit class. Brahma is Ashraya and Maya is Ashrita. Ashraya means supported. Ashrita is supported. Ashrita, Thaprasya. So Ashraya, Ashrita. Maya is supported by Brahma and Brahma is supporter of Maya. Therefore, Maya is dependent on Brahma and Brahma is independent, not dependent on Maya. We know we have a technical word for this dependence and independence. What is that? If you remember, that independence is called Satyam and dependence is called Mithya. Remember the examples what I taught before. Gold is Satyam, ornament is Mithya, clay is Satyam, pot is Mithya, fiber is Satyam, shirt is Mithya. So similarly, Maya is Mithya and Satyam is Brahma. Therefore, we say what is here, what appears as manifold things of the creation is nothing but Brahma. Okay. Now, the last point is Maya is Saguna. Saguna is Gunena Sagavardate. That is along with the Guna. And what about Brahma? Brahma is Nirgunam. It doesn't have Guna. That is why here it is said Gunatmika, Trigunatmika Maya, Brahmashaya Bhuta Maya Asti. Okay. We will discuss more on this probably in the next class.
Gee, what's the first point did you say? The voice break ஆயிடுச்சு இந்த டைம். நிர்விகாராக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன சொன்னீங்கன்னு ஒரு half a minute voice break.
Okay, so I just summarized. I gave 4 points. some of you could not hear, again I will can repeat. I was telling that Brahma and Maya both are Anadi. If both are Anadi, I was telling, are there any differences? What are the differences? If at all if there any differences are there, what are they? The first point what I told was Brahma is Chaitanyam. Chaitanya, its Swarupam is Chaitanya. And Maya, which is the cause, the Karanam of this Jagat, it is Jada, it is Achetana. This is one difference I said. Maya as seems to have the Chetana Tattvam, seems to have, okay, it doesn't have, seems to have Chetana Tattvam because of Brahma. This is the first point I said. The second point what I said is Brahma doesn't undergo any change. It cannot undergo any change because it is Chaitanya. If it undergoes change, then it cannot be Brahma. How can Ishvara undergo change? If Ishvara is mutable, then it cannot be Ishvara. Therefore, Brahma is Nirvikara. It doesn't undergo change. But you see the changes in the creation. The creation itself nothing but a change. And Maya accounts for that. Therefore, Maya is Sadikaram. This is the second point I told. And the third point what I was telling is Maya being Nitya, it has dependency on Brahma. It is Brahma Ashraya. And I said it's a Bhugubrigi Samasa. That is Brahma Ashrayaha Yasyaha Sa. That is the Maya which has Ashraya on Brahma. Brahma is the Ashraya and Maya is the Ashraya. So Maya is as its base or support on Brahma. This is and Maya is not independent. Therefore, Maya is not independent. Brahma is independent. This is the third point I said. And the fourth point what I said was Maya is Sagunam. Sagunam is Gunena Saha Vartate. Maya as Sagunam. Just now we have seen that the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and Brahma is Nirguna. Brahma cannot have any guna. It is Nirguna. Therefore, Brahma Shraya Bodha Maya Trigunatmika. We said. Okay. These are the 4 points, the four difference between Brahma and Maya I told. I hope it is clear now. You all heard. Okay. Now, if you have any doubts, maybe you can ask me after the class. If my voice is audible, if it is not audible, let me know. If it is audible, we can proceed. The next, the sentence in the text. You can repeat after me the next sentence. You can see that in the screen. Tataha Akashas Sambhutaha Akashat Vayuhu Vayostejah Tejasa Apaha Adhyah Prasiddhi. Okay, this is the next sentence in the text which we are going to see now. This, when we read this, some of the swara comes, Akashat, Vayuhu, because it is in Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad, in the Brahmananda Valli, it starts like this. Brahma Vida Apnoti Param Tadesha Yukta Satyam Jnanavanantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman So Oshnute Salvan Kamaan Saha Brahmanadipasthiteti Tasmadva Ekasma Atmana Akashas Sambhutaha Akashat Vayuhu Vayoragnihi Agnerabha Adhyah Prithvi Prithvya Oshadayaha. It goes like this. So the text is literally shifted from Taittiriya Upanishad. The Taittiriya Upanishad Brahmananda Shristi Prakaranam is talked about. So the whole text is just lifted from Taittiriya Upanishad to Tattvabodha. Okay. So the meaning is so simple. You can easily infer. Tataha, from that, Akasha Sambhutaha. Akashaha Sambhutaha. Samyak Bhutaha Akashaha. Akasha, that is space, was born. Bhutaha, so was born. Akashat Vayuhu. Akashat, Panchami Vibhakti. Akashat. Panchami Vibhakti, if you remember, I told it is Apadana. That is used in the sense the cause, the cause of the origin or the birth. In that sense, it is used. There is a sutra for it. Akashat Vayuhu. From the Akasha, that is from the space, Vayu was born. Vayoho Tejaha. Vayoho is Panchami. Vayu, Karanta. From the Vayu, Tejaha was born. What is Tejaha? Fire. And Tejasaha Apaha. Tejasaha is Panchami Vibhakti. Don't think Tejasaha, Tejasaha, not like Rama Shabda. Tejas, Sakaranta Shabda. Tejasaha is Panchami Vibhakti. From the Tejas, Tejasaha, Apaha was born. Waters, Apaha means waters. Apa is a Nitya Bhagavachanam. Apa doesn't have single water. You can say water or waters. So from the fire, from the Tejasaha,
The Tejasaha doesn't have the
Apaha
Visharka.
was born.
Tejasaha doesn't have the
Father,
Visharka.
Sanskritam. Please, after the class, okay? It is not a mistake. It is Sanskritam.
Oh, okay. I was
Grammar rule. Adhyah Prithivi. Adhyaha is, that is again, Panchami Vibhakti, Bhagavachanam of water. Adhyaha. From the waters, Prithivi, the earth was formed. So this is the Srishti Prakaran, the Srishti sequence. It is as it is in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Here, the creation, it is talked about in a fivefold, the fivefold model. That is Akasha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Apaha, Prithvi. So fivefold, five elements are mentioned. That is, this Jagat is presented in a fivefold way. That is why it is called Prapancha. Pancha is five. Prapancha. Prapancha is Prakarshena. This Pancha, five elements, are modified into this Jagat. Therefore, it is called Prapancha. And the purpose of the Shastra talking about the creation is to show that the effect, Karyam, the Jagat is Nitya. And it is not separate from the Karanam, Brahma. That is the intention of the Shastra. The differences between the individual, that Yashti, and the Brahma, that Samashti, in terms of knowledge, in terms of power, it's all due to the Nitya Upadhi. And therefore, you are Brahma. You are that Brahma, Satyam Brahma. We have to understand this. Therefore, once you understand this, then you become free from the hold of Jagat. And to prove that Jagat is Nitya, the Karyam is Nitya, we need to understand. The Shastra presents a model, a fivefold model of the Srishti. The intention of the Shastra is to arrive at the meaning of this Tattvabodha Asi. That's the meaning of this Mahavakya. So, Tattvabodha Asi, you are that. So, you have to understand that there is nothing other than Brahma. That Shastra tries to make you understand the equation. For that, it is presenting this model. Ultimately, it is going to be proved that this Nitya. That is the purpose. Okay. And we have seen before the Chaturvimshati Tattva. We have seen. And of the Chaturvimshati Tattva, the 24th Tattva, the 5 elements are talked about now. What is that? Tataha. What is Tataha? Is Tasmat Brahmanaha. Tasmat Maya Sahita Brahmanaha. From that Brahman which is associated with Maya, something is born. What is that? Akashaha. Akashaha Sambhutaha. Tataha Maya Sahita Brahmanaha. Brahmanaha is Panchami. From that Brahman, Maya Sahita Brahman, Akasha was born. Akasha, it is space. What type of space? Here it is not the gross space what you see or what you hear. I'll tell you what it is later. It means certain space. Here what we are space Akasha in this particular line of the text Akasha, understand it means subtle space. Subtle space. Okay. It's an important thing to be remembered. We'll see. When I discuss the other elements, you will understand. And when we say space, time also comes. Time also included in the space. And another important thing to be understood that Akasha, it is born of Brahman. So Akasha is the Karyam, and which is the Karanam? Maya Sagita. Brahma is the Karanam. Okay. Pot is born from what? Clay. And pot is not different from clay. Similarly, Akasha, which was born of Maya, it's Maya Sagita Brahma. Maya is not different from Brahma. Therefore, Akasha is also not separate from the cause. What is the cause? Maya Sagita Brahma. It is not different from the cause. Because Karyam is not separate from the Karanam. Pot is not separate from the clay. Therefore, Akasha is also Brahma only. Okay. So, this is one thing. And according to Shastram, Akasha, it has a guna. What is that guna? It has the guna of sound. Shabda gunakam akasham. Akasha has this attribute of sound. So, Sambhutaha Akashaha Tataha Brahmanaha. You can say Brahmanaha or Maya Sagita Brahmanaha. Brahmanaha, it means it's understood. Brahma with Maya. It is the Karanam for Akasha. Akasha is a Karyam. And Karya being non-separate from the Karanam, therefore Akasha is also Brahma only. Okay. Now, the next line you see. Akashat Vayuhu. From Akasha, Vayu is. So here, from Akasha, the Shastram, it doesn't mention Brahma at every stage. Because Shastra, it assumes that now we have understood Akasha is Brahma, Brahman, that is space. From that alone, Vayu is born. You have to supply Sambhutaha. Akashat Vayu Sambhutaha. Akasha is not separate from Brahma, that we have seen. And that from Akasha, Vayu is born. Therefore, Brahma is the cause of Vayu also. So from Brahma only, everything comes. Akashat Vayu means, understand that it is comes from Brahma. Again here the Vayu means it is not the Vayu what you perceive by touch. No, it is a subtle Sukshma Vayu. It is subtle air. So Sukshma. Similarly, Akasha also Sukshma. Sukshma Akasha is born. Now Sukshma Vayu is born. Okay. And this Sukshma Vayu has two attributes. It has two attributes. What are they? Since Vayu is born of Akasha, which is not different from Brahma, Akasha, it has a quality of sound. And this Vayu, it has the quality of touch, sparsha. Therefore, Vayu, which is born of Akasha, it has two qualities. What are they? Shabda and sparsha, both. Because it is born from the father Akasha, it inherits the the attribute of Akasha also. Therefore, Shabda Sparsha is two are the attributes of Vayu. Shabda Sparsha Gunakaha Vayu. Okay. Then, Vayos Tejaha. Tejas. Now, Vayoho Tejaha Sambhutaha. We have to separate Sambhutaha. Vayoho Tejaha Sambhutaha. From Vayu, Tejas was born. And what is Vayu now? Vayu is also Brahma only. Like Akasha is Brahma, from that Vayu is born. Now Vayu is also Brahma only. Every time that Shastra will not say it is Brahma, Brahma. It is understood. So Vayu is also Brahma. From that Brahma Vayu, what is born? Tejaha is born. And what is this Tejaha? The Tejaha is not the fire what you see. It is not the physical fire. Again, it is the subtle fire. Sukshma Agni. Tejaha is Sukshma Agni. Tejaha. Tejas is the Shabda. It is the neuter gender. Napumsakalinga. So, Tejas Shabda. And what happens is when you decline it, the Panchami Vibhakti becomes Tejasaha. Panchami Vibhakti. And Pratama Vibhakti only. Tejaha only. Therefore, Vayoho Tejaha is the Tejaha. From the Brahma, Vayu, the Sukshma Tejas, that Agni is born. Okay. What are the properties of Vayu? Vayu, we know it has two properties now. Akasha's property is Shabda. Vayu property is Sparsha. And now Tejas has come. Therefore, Tejas should have the property, the attributes of the preceding two also, but Akasha and Vayu. Therefore, Tejas will have the property of sound as well as Sparsha, that touch. In addition to that, its own property. What is that? Rupa, form. Rupa. So therefore, Tejas will have three properties now. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, three. Now the next line. Tejasaha, Apaha, Tejasaha. That Visarga is gone by Sandhi rule. That you know it very well. We have seen so many times in the class. Tejasaha, Apaha. Okay. Now, Tejasaha, Apaha, Sambhutaha. Supplied Sambhutaha. From the Tejas, Apaha was born. And Tejas is what? Tejas is Brahma only. From the Brahma, which is the Tejas, now from that Apa was born. Apaha, Nitya Bhagavachanam. Apaha is born. And what is this Apaha? Again, it is not the Apa what you perceive by your senses. It is not a gross water. It is again, it is Sukshma Apa, Sukshma Jalam. It is not Stula Jalam, Sukshma Jalam. From the Sukshma Agni, Sukshma Jalam was born. That Sukshma Agni is not different from Brahma. At every point it is Brahma. So from Brahma, Tejas, from the Brahma, Apaha is born. Okay. And what are the properties of water now? Water will inherit the three properties which is preceded. The three elements which preceded water, Apaha. What are they? Akasha, Vayu, Tejas. So in addition to the properties of these three elements, Apa will also have its own property. So in total it will have four properties. What are they? Akasha's property is Shabda, Vayu property is Sparsha, and Tejas property is Rupa, and Apaha, its property is taste, Rasa. So Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. These four will be the properties of Apaha. Okay. And Adhyah Prithvi. Adhyah Prithvi Sambhuta. Here we cannot say Sambhutam because Prithvi is feminine gender. Therefore, we have to make it Sambhuta. Okay. Vayoho Tejas Sambhutam. Even in Vayo's Tejaha, that Tejas Sambhutam. You have to separate Sambhutam. Not everywhere Sambhutaha. Depending on the gender, we have to supply. Okay. Adyaha Prithvi Sambhuta. From the water, Prithvi was born. Again, here the Prithvi is not the gross Prithvi what you see, it is the subtle Prithvi. 1 minute. Yes. From Adyaha Prithvi Sambhuta. It is Prithvi is feminine gender, therefore it is Sambhuta. So you have to supply the Sambhuta according to the gender. Okay. So here Adyaha Prithvi Sambhuta. Prithvi, as I told, it is not the gross Prithvi, gross earth. It is the Sukshma Prithvi. The gross, that Stula is yet to be born. That is going to come later. So what is born now? It's only Sukshma elements, Sukshma Bhutas. So Prithvi is born from the Brahma, which is water. Up to water, we know Akasha, Vayu, Tejas, and Apa. These four will have as their own properties. And Prithvi also has its own property. What is the property of Prithvi? Prithvi property is smell. Smell is the Granam. Grana is the Prithvi's property. So Akasha property is Shabda, Vayu property is Sparsha, Tejas property Rupa, Aditya Apaka property, the taste, and Prithvi's own property, smell, Grana. So these five will become the properties of Prithvi. So 5 elements are mentioned, and each element has individual properties that will be inherited by the successive elements, and therefore starting from Akasha to Sambhuta, the number of the properties owned by the individual elements it increases. So fifth element Prithvi will have 5 properties, and this is how the Srishti is talked about. But here what is important is understand everywhere that Brahma is Akashaka Sambhutaha Brahmanaha. From Brahman, that Maya Sagita Brahman, Akasha is born, and Akasha is not different from Brahma, and that from that Akasha Vayu is born, and Vayu is not different from Brahma. From that Vayu Tejas is born, and Tejas is not different from Brahma. From that Apaha is born, and Apaha is not different from Brahma, and from that Prithvi is born. So Brahma is all the way. So that is to be understood. So now the 5 elements are born, and the 5 elements now inherit the properties, certain properties we have seen. That is why we say Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. What does it mean? These are the 5 properties of the 5 elements. That is what this whole Prapancha is made of. At the Sukshma level, we are talking about. The Stula level, it is going to come from this Sukshma element, Sukshma Bhuta. The Stula Bhuta will be born, and that will be, we will discuss in detail in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. 5 minutes.